Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Alright, hello and welcome to an Inkdependence.com brief video review and water drop test. Today we have a Blackstone ink. That is this one. This is Blackstone Sydney Harbor Blue, or BL. Looks like it got cut off there a little bit. This was sent out to me by Anderson Pens for review. Thank you very much to Brian and Lisa and all the folks there at Anderson Pens who hook me up with inks sometimes. Oops, kicking my tripod. This is the second? At least the second. I'm not sure exactly how many of these I've done at this point. Maybe more. This is the second blue in the series anyway. The first one was the Barrier Reef Blue, and actually I think I like Barrier Reef Blue quite a bit better. So if you're up in the air about which one to choose, I would say go with Barrier Reef. I think it's a nicer blue. You can see here just in the vial, I think. My lighting here is not ideal, so I may have to redo all of this, but you never know. It's late at night. I'm going on vacation, so I gotta do this anyway. This is the Blackstone Barrier Reef is a much brighter blue. The Sydney Harbor is a very dark blue, as you'll see here in just a sec. In fact, how about nowish? So there it is. That's the Sydney Harbor blue. One thing you'll notice about this blue is that, yeah, it's very dark. It's also a little bit teal. It's definitely not a pure blue. It's got a lot of the green tones in there, as you would for a harbor, I suppose. And also, there we go, quite a bit of sheen on this ink. I'm using my indoor lighting here, which is just a pretty bright CFL in the right temperature. So you should be getting good color, I think. But getting the sheen is not always that easy with this. But yeah, you can definitely see a lot of sheen where it pooled. This is a fairly thick ink. I feel like it's got a lot of viscosity. It didn't really stop up any of my pens or anything like that. I did have a bit of an issue with it drying out. But not too bad. I think I just didn't use it for quite a while. This is the pen I had it in, which is a franklin-christoph Model 20. This is the full-size Model 20, and it has a broad, what they're calling SIG nib. At the time, it was called a stublique. So if you've heard of a stublique nib from franklin-christoph or a SIG nib, they're the same thing, which is kind of this rounded off metallic stub type critter that Jim does right at the table. So that's pretty cool. I like this pen quite a bit, and the nib is great. So when I say this runs a little bit dry, it's because, well, I've used this pen a lot. So it runs a little bit on the dry side. It's just a little bit thick. Probably if you thin it out with a bit of water, or as I know some people like to do, just add like the tiniest hint of dish soap to your mix, and it will make it flow much more freely. I haven't done that. I just do inks as they are. So there you go. As far as behavior, aside from being a little bit dry, it did have some very minor bleed on my 20-pound copy paper, which is this stuff right here. You can see it's this line here. I didn't really get any feathering or spread or any of that stuff. Maybe a couple of feathers, not really. And you see here it kind of died off on me. So, a little bit of tough writing. Let's give it a little squiggle here just for the live camera view. And there we go. And it starts right up. So, hey, no problem there. Great. I think it was just because I had left this pen for quite a while, and it had just kind of dried up in the feed a little bit. All I did was just touch I ran some water in the sink and it just went boop, and it was fine. So no big deal getting it started again. I don't see this as a problematic ink at all. Just I left it in the pen for a while. You can see here there's no problem with it starting. It started right up. So good job. Good job, Blackstone, Sydney Harbor. On the back, it's this bit right here, and you can see pretty clearly that it came through a bit in several places. This is a broad stub-ish nib, so that's maybe to be expected. Probably if I used it in a finer nib, it wouldn't be much of an issue at all. So behaves pretty well. Some very minor bleed on the 20-pound paper. So yeah, I think this is pretty safe for office use type stuff. One thing about it is that it does take a little bit of time to dry. Here I mentioned that it takes about 15 seconds-ish to dry. There's a little dry time thing. I noticed that I had stopped doing these a long time ago, and I don't really know why. I guess I just said nobody cared, but I think people might. So if you'd like to see the dry time thing, let me know, and I'll keep doing it. It does give me a bad case of inky fingers, which I've finally gotten the ink off my fingers, that is. Yeah, no problem after about 15 seconds. I got a little bit of a move there, but not too much. Not bad at all. So no big deal. But that's on Rhodia, by the way. So this is a coated paper. So on your regular old papers, heck, we can just do it on the 20-pound right quick. I bet it's going to dry almost immediately. All right. So squiggle. Well, not quite immediately. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, done. So like 3 seconds, give or take. So not too bad. That was super scientific, right? Anyway, that's how I do those. So 15 seconds-ish, and about 3 seconds-ish on the 20 pounds. So no, not bad, not bad at all. Some things to compare it to. We have Diamine Majestic Blue. I put that on there because it's a blue that's also got a ton of sheen. So let's see if we can get both of those sheening at the same time. Yeah, I don't know if I'm catching it. I hope I will. Anyway, trust me on the Diamine Majestic Blue. That is a very sheeny ink. Hopefully you've seen some of the Sydney Harbor. The Faber-Castell Midnight Blue, which has no sheen at all. Well, I guess there is actually a little bit of sheen. I see a little bit of something in there. And then Schaefer Turquoise, because it's a blue I had sitting around. I don't really have any other blues in pens right now, oddly enough. I usually have a ton of blues. Oh, wait, here's one. Let's put this on there just because it's a blue. So this is, we'll turn it this way. This is Sailor Blue Black. And we'll give you a squiggle right there. I actually haven't used this very much. I got this in a cartridge because my Sailor converter was kind of toast. It kept spilling ink into the barrel of my pen. I got tired of that. So it's got a cartridge, and it works great. No problems at all. And actually, this is a pretty nice blue-black. I wasn't actually sure what to expect, but I should have expected good things because, man, I really like Sailor inks, so no problems there. All right, so that's enough comparison stuff. Let's take a look at the water test. All right, quick. Spray some water on there. Yeah, even as I do it, plenty of the ink actually coming out. This one in the center. There we go. That ought to be plenty of ink for us. Or plenty of water, rather. All right. As I mentioned, it's kind of late at night. A little bit brain fried. All right, let's go ahead and mop it up. The T in test is kind of going away, so yeah, look at that. Plenty coming through. And voila. Yeah. Yep. Not water resistant even a little bit, this one. And I've heard these are kind of washable inks and you shouldn't really expect any particular permanence from them. I tell you, when I was doing this, the dry time test, I had all kinds of issues with getting it off of my fingers once it was on. I don't use Amedex or anything like that. I was just washing my hands or whatever, but I ended up having to wash my hands several times during the day before it came off. So it will stick to your hands, that's for darn sure. But on paper, not too much. You barely see anything left. So one of the least water-resistant inks that I've used. All right, let's take a look at the chromatography right quick. There it is. You can see on the left-hand side there how it got to be like this. Come on now, chromatography strip. That is a fancy term for a piece of coffee filter that I've cut up and done chromatography on. But yeah, nothing really hanging out down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and straighten that out. There we go. Finally. But a lot of blue up here. This is kind of what you saw on the paper is that it's really left hardly anything behind. So yeah, there you go. All right. So this has been, did I show it on, no, I didn't do the Tomoe River. Here's Tomoe River just for funsies. I have this sheet that I kind of keep in my desk. It's a little bit crinkled. The thing about Tomoe River for me is that it does show sheen and stuff really well, but it's hard to keep from getting wrinkled and like crumpled because it's so thin. I mean, this is, I don't know, if you've never seen Tomoe River paper before, like look at it, you can see straight through it. Actually, this bled through a little bit, which is actually kind of impressive. Most other things do not, but that is, I just took the cap, took the cap off a bottle of ink and went bloop on top of it and got this cool ink circle, but it did bleed through, which is pretty impressive. But anyway, one thing you get from this is a ton of sheen. So here's the Sydney Harbor Blue, a little bit of flex on the paper that usually brings out some sheen. Hopefully you can see something there. And then Majestic Blue, as I was saying before, tons of sheen. In fact, more sheen than ink most of the time. Yeah, there you go. And then the Shimmertastic down there is actually looking pretty nice too. This Shimmertastic, the red luster, is really cool. It's coming up soon, so keep your eyes on the blog for that one. We've got something special coming up with those. So, all right, that's that. So this has been Blackstone Sydney Harbor Blue. Here it is again. Comes in these, nope, that's Barrier Reef. Comes in these adorable little bottles from Anderson Pens. You can get, these are of course the samples. These are 3 ml samples. And then you can also buy these in bottles. So make sure that you check out the Blackstone inks because you can only get them at Anderson Pens and they're all pretty cool. At least the ones that I've tried, which are only like 3 or 4 of them, but there's what, 6 in the set? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in the set, I guess. So not many of these to go around, but do check these out at Anderson Pens. Get yourself some samples. If you're going to do samples of blue, I do recommend Barrier Reef over Sydney Harbor, but Sydney Harbor might have that cool dark teal with the sheen that you're looking for, and Barrier Reef doesn't so much. So this is just more of a bright blue. Check out the review for that. I've already done this one, so check that out on the blog or on the YouTube channel if you only go to the YouTube channel. All right, that's it. Peace out, y'all. Thanks again to Anderson Pens for sending these out, and I'm looking forward to trying out the rest of them. Bye bye.